Okay, so we're going to talk about DNA.
Okay.
Let's define DNA. What is DNA? Okay?
Dynamic nucleic acid. It's also the copy machine and the transmitter.
Wouldn't that make it a copy and fax machine?
Yes.
Okay, so they're the blueprints.
The copy machine and the transmission. So pretty much it's just a radio.
What does DNA stand for?
Dynamic nucleic acid or something.
Nucleic acid, so deoxy.
Gosh,
What does that mean?
Pokemon.
Okay, non-oxygenated, so non-oxygen.
Is it deoxynucleic acid?
Yeah, deoxyribo.
Oh, ribo. So I'll get the deoxy part, but I'm probably going to forget the ribo.
Okay. Deoxyribonucleic acid.
I'll remember deoxy because it's a Pokemon.
Okay, so we're going to do a little vocabulary really quick that involves DNA. So we're going to talk about genes. Okay, and genes are pieces of DNA that code for specific proteins, and a specific order of proteins codes for a specific eye color or hair or muscle tissue. Okay, so genes are a segment or a piece of DNA that codes for a specific, maybe if we can get this to undo. I know, that's what I was trying to erase. Okay, that codes for a specific protein.
Get out of here.
Those proteins code for traits. Okay, so let's define a trait. What's a trait? David?
Isn't that the visual representation of the gene, such as you have dark hair?
Perfect. Okay. The representation of what you actually see. So I have dark hair. You have blue eyes. We all have semi-white skin, right?
I'm tan.
So height might be something, hair color, eye color, etc. So the characteristic which are visible. Okay, so eye color, hair color. Boys in the back, give me another trait. Skin color.
I don't know his color.
Height.
There we go. Toenail length.
Toenails. Whether you have toenails or not.
Whether you're prone to ingrown toenails.
Whether you're prone to ingrown toenails.
How many toes you have.
How many toes you have, exactly.
How many toes you don't?
So the first person to discover DNA was Frank Griffith. So Frank Griffith discovered discovered
Yeah.
DNA in 1928.
Wasn't it until like the 80s that they first started understanding?
There's one cute little teddy bear.
Yeah. Because we had in 19, so that's in 1928. So this is, we're going to do a little timeline. So we'll say 1928, Frank Griffith discovered DNA. Okay, so he said, yes, there's something that we should look at. Then in 1950, Chargaff, right?
Yeah. Chargaff does not.
What'd Chargaff do, boys?
Charizard made that formula.
Chargaff rule.
Determine the base pairing,
Yeah.
which is what?
Blah, blah, blah.
Is that like the A and like T and stuff?
Yep. What's that mnemonic device that we use? GCAP. G and C pair together, A and T pair together. Then we had in 1952, what did we have?
1952, we had the X-ray from that chick.
From Rosalind Franklin.
Yeah. And then 1953.
We had the X-ray
1953
of DNA.
Winston. And,
Proposed a helix.
no, it wasn't Winston Churchill. It was Winston.
No,
and
Watson
Watson.
and Crick.
Yeah.
So 1950, what was that?
3.
50,
2 or 3. 1 or 2.
53.
Yeah, it was 53.
Watson and Crick.
Decided to say, oh yeah, it's a double helix. She's right.
So who is attributed with, who is the most popular name in DNA then?
Watson and Crick.
Watson and Crick.
Only because they're male and she was female.
Proposed double
There's
helix.
the latest to discover anything interesting.
Wait, what did you just say?
That they're just the latest to discover anything interesting.
Women can't do anything right.
So let's take a look at the structure, the actual structure of DNA, now that we know about DNA.
Okay.
So we know that it's a double helix,
Yeah, and it's got a backbone too.
okay? So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what were you saying?
It's got a backbone. And it's got the.
And what is the backbone made of?
Oh gosh. So
It's like sugar
Oh.
and phosphate.
Yep. So sugar and phosphate.
I remember there was something with sugar because I kept making the remark of sugar and spice and everything nice.
Yep.
That is what DNA is made of.
Okay.
teddy phone.
Teddy phone.
So then, boys in the back, what do those two strands, those two pieces of backbone, what are they connected by?
They're connected by sugar and phosphate.
Phosphorus.
The backbones, how are they connected?
Wait,
What? Nope, they make proteins.
oh, backbone?
Nope, what are the backbones connected by?
Sugar and phosphate.
Nope, that is what the backbone is. David, help them out.
They're connected by the base pairs.
By the bases, okay. So they are connected.
Oh yeah, Dave, continue. Why don't you say anything? Oh yeah, sure.
By the bases. G and C and A and T. Okay? So if I have A, what do I have on the other side?
Yeah.
C. No, T.
T. If I have a G, what do I have?
C. C.
If I have a C, what do I have?
G.
If I have a T,
A.
if I have a T,
A.
and if I have a C.
G.
So, the DNA can be broken into two different ways. Okay, it can be broken down in two different ways. It can be broken down by by what's called a nucleotide. N, new. Oops. Ah. Okay, so DNA can be broken down two different ways. We have a nucleotide.
And a genotype.
No, new. Nucleotide. And a nucleotide consists of one deoxy sugar, so deoxy sugar, a phosphate, and a base. So we have a sugar, a phosphate, and a base.
Is that a D? Is that like a nucleotide?
Yeah. Yes, I am. It can also be broken down into base triplets or codons. Okay, what does the word triplet mean? Three. Okay, so if I have this nice, pretty backbone here.
You're breaking it a couple times.
And I have a bunch of bases, A, C, C, G, T, A, T, T, G, C, G, so on and so forth. This is known as a base triplet, or a codon. Okay, that codon codes for a specific protein. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. Okay, so there's a codon, there's a codon, there's a codon. Okay, and that codon basically essentially is 3 base pairs. These then code for proteins. So if I have, let's put this little genetic code in there. Okay, so this right here is the code of all codes for what your DNA actually creates. Okay, so you go from DNA to RNA to proteins. So like we talked about, you go from from the DNA to RNA, and what's that called?
It's APOS.
What's this called?
Translation?
Nope, you're making a copy of the master copy.
Oh, the
Transcription.
Transcription.
See, I knew the first part. That's all.
Okay, and transcription essentially means making a copy. Okay, DNA is found where? In the nucleus.
Yes.
When is it not found in a nucleus?
When it's.
DNA is always.
Oh, when it's in a bacteria.
Okay, when it's in a bacteria or a prokaryote. Prokaryotes mean we don't have a nucleus, therefore our DNA cannot be contained within the nucleus. Okay? In our case, DNA is within the nucleus. Okay? RNA goes
In the cell.
in, so it goes mRNA, messenger RNA. Okay? Nucleus, to the cytoplasm. Okay, and this is in the cytoplasm. To the outside of cell.
And then that's translation.
Yep. So then from here to here is translation. And what does translation mean? Yep, decoding. So if we had a code section of DNA and it was G A C. Say G A C T T A. Okay, so here is my DNA. DNA is semi-conservative, which means when it makes a copy of itself, it will make, so what is the other side here? No, what's the complementary side here? It's complementary, meaning it matches up, right?
Oh, G
to C, A to T, G,
A, T.
Okay, so if I were to copy DNA to DNA, and why would I do that? In what form would I do that? Why would I copy my DNA? To make another one. And when do I need to make another one? Mitosis. Perfect. Okay, so mitosis. We'll get there. Okay, so if I was to make a copy, I would go in, and we're going to talk about how this unzips. But if I was to make a copy, I would have two new strands. I'd have one strand here that said, okay, I'm going to go C, G, oops. C, T, G, A. Boys in the back, please. Okay, and then I would have this side, which would be G, A, C, T, T, A. Okay, so I would have two copies of my DNA, correct? Yeah. I would have one parent strand and one daughter strand. So it's called semi-conservative. Okay, meaning that it has one old and one new. So Tristan had a good question, which is where is that DNA? How does it get there, etc., etc., right? So we have DNA. Okay, when DNA, so this is the DNA part. Okay, and when that DNA gets wound up, okay, into a little bit more organized fashion. Okay, so I'm going to zoom this like this. Okay, so this is a zoomed in portion, right? DNA is like the really big zoomed in portion. Okay, when we have uncoiled DNA within our nucleus, so when we're in the growth stage of the cell cycle, this is called chromatin. Okay, so this is unwound DNA. When does DNA start compacting?
Right there.
Right about there.
And what is in the cell cycle?
Oh, and your
Perfect. These are chromosomes. He does know something.
Hey.
He speaks. Okay? Wound DNA. Or that organized DNA. Okay, and then within each section of this, so kind of like you were asking, Victor, this piece right here might code for a specific. This is a specific gene, which codes for a specific trait. Okay? So in the human body, how many chromosomes do we have? No, come on.
27. Yeah.
Nope.
26.
Nope.
26.
48.
No.
Start at 1 and go.
Close.
Starting one and go up. 46.
46. Okay, we have 46
23 each.
I did it.
chromosomes. Ah! Oh no.
Oh no.
Hit Control Z.
I don't have a control Z.
Why did you click back one
Do
slide?
you have a
I
back?
forget.
Just go back a
It's okay.
Slide.
No, because if I go back a slide, then it goes to the previous slide. It's okay. We'll just redraw it. Okay, so we have DNA, and then we have our chromosome. Okay, so humans have 46 chromosomes.
Why does that look like a Dr. Seuss haircut?
Okay, 22 homologous. What does homologous mean?
The same.
Okay, thank you. Homologous pairs.
What does that say? Human? Oh, it's humans.
And 1 pair of sex chromosomes. Okay, so these 46 chromosomes, 20, okay, so we have 23 pairs, right? So, out of these 22, how many did I get out of 22 pairs, right? Or the 46 chromosomes, how many did I get from my mom?
11.
23.
Oh, I got 23 from my mom and 23 from my dad. So, right. So if I'm talking about homologous pairs, okay, if I have 22 pairs, how many chromosomes did I get from my mom? 22. Not because I didn't get the pairs, right? So I have chromosome 1, right? So I have 1 and 1. So 1 is from my mom, and 1 is from my dad, right? So 23 from mom, 23 from dad. So essentially, who gets to determine what sex you are?
Your dad.
Your dad. And why? Why?
Because they have an X and Y chromosome.
Females are XX.
Boys are XY.
Does that mean they have...
What's a YY?
That's a non-existent. Why it doesn't happen?
Wow. Oh,
It's a genetic mutation.
We should make one.
Ooh,
Can't.
yeah, let's do
Not enough genetic information. There's XXY, there's just an X, there's triple X. So those are all different disorders that we will get to.
One of them is